Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, coming here for another love circle. And today we are talking about guilt and shame-free life. How can we create that? This topic is very close to my heart. I'm a woman, I'm a mom, and we are assumed to have massive guilt just because we are a woman and we are a mother. So, this is something I have really worked deep with guilt and also fear, how to live a fearless life, how to live a life where guilt does not control me. So I am so excited to share that aspect with you and provide the opportunity with you to understand what guilt does to you and how can you come out of the darkness of guilt. So first, let's get into what is guilt. Guilt means I did something wrong. Shame means there's something wrong with me. Guilt attacks the actions that you're doing, but shame attacks the foundation of you, who you are as a being, as a human, your very existence. And they both go together. And we get so attached to them because it's been with us that at this point in human history, we actually feel good feeling guilty and ashamed. When our child does something or when an adult does something, we are expecting them to feel guilty. If they don't feel guilty, that means they're not a good human. And most adults don't even know how to live life without feeling guilty because it has become part of the human characteristics that you should tell the truth and you should feel guilty when you have done something. You all might be remembering right now, like, oh yeah, that's how we look at a person. If a person did something wrong and they are not even feeling guilty about it, our brain goes into a short circuit, like what's wrong with this person, why they're not feeling guilty, they're supposed to feel guilty, because unfortunately we have made it to be such a important aspect of a human being, but it is one of the most detrimental thing. Now, we are not talking about go and create chaos in world and just be happy about it. Our actions always have a ripple effect, not just on ourselves, on others, but at a universal level. We want to grow to become conscious human being, but not by tearing ourselves apart through guilt. So what I'll be sharing with you today, I'll be sharing with you what else you can do. What is another way of living where you're not tearing yourself down by giving into guilt and shame, and at the same time, you can add to yourself, you can add to the humanity as a collective. So let's go into, just first, let's look at where in your life you feel guilt and shame. Are you that kind of person who sits with friends and then you tell yourself that, oh, I am so this, I am so that, I love feeling like, I'm okay with, let me actually just collect my thoughts. Sometimes, unfortunately, in the name of self-development, we act in a way that I can sit here and I am an open book and anyone can criticize me, and I am so brave that I will take all the criticism. That is one aspect. And the second aspect is I can sit here and I can make fun of all the flaws that I have, and it does not disturb me. That is a very common phenomena among friends, among many women and also men as well. We just sit there and laugh at ourselves. And sometimes it exists between couple. We're in front of other people, they're just making fun of each other and they're just saying like, oh, we're okay about it. We are okay about like, going into this guilt and shame and yeah, that I feel it's good. Those are very, very toxic things that we do that we are actually not supposed to do as conscious, healthy human beings. So pay attention to where you are. How do you interact with guilt? How do you interact with shame? Do you come out and let everybody attack you and then, inside you're crumbling down and you're like, yeah, I feel so guilty about it. I feel so ashamed about it, but I'm still doing it. And, yeah, I need to hear it from all of you. Like, do you just put yourself out there for everybody to, like, beat up on you, or you beat up on yourself? Because if we don't know where we are, we don't know where to go. Think of it, you're going from New York City to California. It's very important you know where you are right now. Are you in the Midwest already, or are you still stuck in New York City traffic? It's very important to know that. Most of us are stuck in New York City traffic. We are so delusioned by guilt that we are so attached to it because we think feeling guilty is so noble that we don't even know how to disentangle from guilt. To just become aware of where you are, I can tell you where I am at this point in my growth. Guilt does show up. It shows up. It will always show up, but it cannot control me anymore. And I will be sharing more about that. Now let's get into why guilt exists. Where did it come from? Now, I am going to take a step back at the collective religions that we have at the moment, all the structured religion right now in the world. Unfortunately, the way they are being taught right now, you will find guilt and shame in every single one of them. And I know my Catholic friends would say, no, Alia, we have the biggest guilt and shame in the way we are taught in the church. But trust me, I do study all different kind of religions, including Islam, and guilt is present every single place. But if you look at the scripture itself, if you look at the words of God, there's no guilt. There might be like, you're doing something wrong and, there could be a consequence, but there's no guilt. There's no saying that you did something wrong and there's something wrong with you. You will find if you're doing something wrong, like, here's the correct path. But unfortunately, somewhere it did not get translated to current humans. How to make that shift, how to keep improving without going into guilt, how to keep moving forward without beating yourself up. So that piece just went missing for some reason. So no matter what spiritual school you belong to, what religion you practice, I want to tell you there's no room for guilt in spirituality. And in a bit, I'll share with you why there's no room for guilt in spirituality, in a path of living to be the highest creation ever created that we know of. There's no guilt. So where did guilt come from then? Guilt comes from humans. At some point, one human used it for another human, and then, the generational curse continues. Your grandparents did it to your parents, and your parents did it to your parents. And now you might be doing it to your kids. I know I have done it to my child where I'm comparing him with someone else. I want to make him feel guilty so I can manipulate him and control him. That is what guilt is here for, to manipulate you and to control you. Your parents used it at one point in your life, and then once the bug of guilt and shame was within you, now you're running it over and over and over. You could be an 80-year-old person still feeling guilty, still feeling ashamed. It doesn't really make sense. We are talking about human. That is one of the highest creation ever created, is getting controlled by this guilt and shame. We don't even slow down to think and look at what's going on in our psychology to even be aware of how we are getting controlled, how we are getting manipulated. So guilt and shame has been introduced into your psychology to control you and to manipulate you. And then you use it to control yourself and manipulate yourself. How many adults you know who just kind of like, they were going on the straight path and then they just went to a different direction. And then they are beating themselves up. They're like, you're horrible, you're bad, you're gonna go to hell, you better put your act together. They're doing all those things to themselves so they can wake up. Most likely similar things happen in their childhood. So the guilt that we are so attached to, guilt that we don't even know how to let go, it has a very specific brain chemistry tied in. It's part of your physical nervous system at this point. When mom made you feel guilty, maybe let's say, you got a bad grade and she was like, "What is wrong with you? Why can't you do as good as your siblings are doing?" Right? In that moment, you knew this is how she will act. First time, you're like, okay, 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 I'm feeling bad. The next time, you knew this is how mom is going to deal with you. What did it do for you? Now you feel safe in the craziest way possible. You feel safe because this is something familiar. You know it exists. This is exactly what my mom would say or do if I do this. Do you see how now that little child has a piece of safety and certainty? So every time they do something wrong, mom yells at them, they feel bad. It's creating a whole circular phenomena within them. Now they're adult, they want to feel that same level of safety and same level of coziness, same level of certainty. Because, maybe things are going crazy in their life. Maybe they're going through a breakup. Maybe they just lost their, job. Maybe they're going through divorce. Maybe their whole house collapsed. Whatever. They want to feel safe. So what they do, they turn against themselves and they say, why you're such a, fill in the blanks, all the words that we say in our head to ourselves, all the ways we abuse ourselves in our mind. That is turning against yourself, making yourself feel guilty. And then we sit with it, then we cry. Now we have created a fake mom inside of our psychology just so we can feel safe and in control. Guilt and shame is all about safety and control. When the earth is moving under your feet, when the floor becomes lava, you want to feel safe and in control. You go to guilt. And what guilt does, I'll be showing it to you in just a few, but just remembering for this moment, that it is an addictive thing that was introduced into your nervous system at a very young age, and now you're addicted to it. You're used to it. You don't even see how it hurts you. So let's get into how it hurts you. I'm going to talk about 3 levels it's hurting you. Physiological, it's hurting your body. Spiritual level, it's hurting your spirituality, and also psychological level, and then how it drains all of your energy. So first, let's talk about on a physiological level, what guilt does to you. Guilt is an emotion, it's tied to your solar plexus chakra. And solar plexus chakra is emotion center, but it's not just an energy center. I know some people, they are not like, so much on board with the energy healing and energy body yet. Inside your nervous system, at the same spot, if you go inside your body, right by the backbone, there's a massive ganglion called solar plexus. And what that massive ganglion does, it is getting supplied energy by the solar plexus outside of you, the energy body that's outside of you. It is getting provided energy from that place, because that is the part of your descended soul into the body. Our body exists inside the soul. Soul does not exist in the body. I won't go too far into that tangent, because then you'll be lost. But think of it this way. You are in an amniotic fluid that is nourishing you. And the amniotic fluid, it's very important that it stays pure and clean and it does not get tainted. But when I throw in guilt in there, now the solar plexus chakra is overworking. It's trying to make up for all the overthinking that we are doing, all the emotions we are feeling. So think of it this way, a motor that is going so fast. And it's just working so fast. So what is happening? It's expanding, 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 expanding. Most of the adults who come to me, their solar plexus chakra is 2 to 3 times bigger than rest of their chakras. And if they're already on some kind of pill, then it's even worse. And if we are feeling so drained in that area, what is happening? That ganglionic mass, in physical ganglionic mass inside of your body is not getting the energy that it's supposed to get. Your nervous system is not feeling stable. So you just feel like you're just a fluffy cloud and you're not feeling grounded, and your nervous system is going like this all the time, and you're anxious all the time. Those are all the signs of people who have very deep rooted guilt within them, which is most adults at this point, because we have never learned how to create safety within us. So we are just, going by, does this person like me? Did I do that wrong? Did I do that right? And then let me turn against myself. So when your solar plexus chakra is so depleted and your nervous system is feeling so out of control, it's not feeling grounded, it's not feeling calm, what is happening additionally, though, all of your GI tract is getting energy provided by your solar plexus chakra. Now, this whole organ or a system of organ in your body is not getting enough energy. So what's going to happen? All kind of GI tract issues, ulcer, um, IBS, uh, all kind of constipation issues, all kind of, I think SIBO, I think ulcerative colitis, that like all kind of stuff that happens here is coming from there. Now, we're gonna pause right there, and I want you to think about all the women that you know in your very close circle. How many of them have GI tract issues? That is how you know how much guilt is within them. And we praise it. We're like, it's so good. She feels guilty. Isn't that wonderful? She's such a noble person. And we do the same thing to men as well. But you know what it's doing? It is sucking the life force out of you. It's making you sick. You would not find a 60, 70-year-old who feels guilty and she's not taking multiple pills. But, then we say, oh, I'm just getting old and my body's breaking down. It's part of being old. You just live on pills. You see how we have normalized self-abuse because we don't know how to be another way. You can be a 60-year-old with no pills. It's very possible, but you'll have to learn how to conserve your energy. And that is what we'll be talking about further. Spiritually, your solar plexus chakra is divine light. So this right here is divine power, divine love, divine light. We all have heard of this phrase in spiritual groups, divine power, divine love, divine light, and we have no idea what it means. Divine light is that your solar plexus chakra is so healthy and whole, which only means none of the emotions can control you that belongs to your physical body. So fear cannot control you, judgment cannot control you, guilt cannot control you. Now that nothing can control you, you can truly become the channel of the divine light that lives within you. You can truly walk on the path of your soul. Even if everybody in this world is against you, you don't care about them because your safety is within you. Your safety is not outside of you anymore. And friends, I'm personally walking on this path. I can tell you it's not a piece of cake. It is every day's work. Every single day I wake up and I work on myself, how I am not going to give into the seeking validation of other people. And how am I going to stay true to my soul and keep doing the work that I came here to do? It's not piece of cake, but when we step into it, life is so much freer. This is like the richest thing you can give to yourself. I wake up every morning, I feel the richest person in this world. Those are not small words. I feel the richest person in the world because nobody can control me. Nobody can manipulate me. They'll try, people try, but I know how to see what's going on. I know what's going on within me and keep moving through life with my divine light shining bright. Why do we want to keep our divine light intact or work on making it intact? When the soul is going to leave from your body, there's 5 levels of soul that actually descend into the body, and the last two are the last ones to leave. The very last one stays with your body till your body's decayed, and that is when it leaves. So if you do believe in reincarnation, you cannot have the next reincarnation till 11 months of earth time. That is how long it takes for our body to fully decay. Even talking about it is like, oh my God, my body's gonna decay someday. When the last part of, like, the second last part of your soul is being pulled out of your body, these discs, they start collapsing and they just get pulled out. So it's almost like your soul is leaving with the homework it did in this world. If you did do the work to take control of the way you think, if at some point you became aligned with the universe and you started thinking like how God thinks, you're leaving with divine power. If you learn how to love others the way God loves them, where you don't see that, oh, this person looks different than me. They're this religion, or they are that ethnicity, or they did this to me. When you can love your enemy just as much as you love yourself, that is divine love. And divine light is when you have the emotional mastery that nothing of this world can control you, and you can fully become the channels of light and do the work of the light, a full surrender to your soul. That is intact divine light. See, when those three leave and you go back up wherever we all come from, now you are coming back as a soul who actually did the homework that they came here to do. So you're going to be, that soul that's like, I did what I came here to do. And you continue moving forward, you continue doing the work. So when we sit down here and we are trying to cultivate an inner world where guilt doesn't exist, where fear doesn't exist, we are developing at the soul level. We are benefiting our soul. All the investment you have made in yourself by paying to a therapist, to a coach, to go for a retreat, to here or there, all that investment is going to benefit you in your next lifetime, in your next, wherever you're going. That is the only investment you can take from this world. Isn't that wonderful? Like, we all know that, the richest people left everything here. Everything is going to stay here. But the growth that you do in this world, you get to take it. And our divine light is that thing. So spiritually, how you're getting impacted when you are playing with guilt and shame and you're bathing in it, when you're doing that, you are not spiritually developing. Your soul is going to leave with that, like, okay, I came here to do something. Now I have to go further and keep doing that work. So right now, you can make a different decision. You can do the work of your soul that it came here to do. You can learn how to live beyond guilt. Let's get into the next one, psychological. We feel guilt and shame because in that moment, when things are different, we want to feel control. We want to feel safe. But safety is an illusion. Safety is not real. So when I am living with, like, this is how I can hold on to something. I'm on a slippery slope. I need to hold on to something. I need to feel that instant gratification that I am safe. When we are living with that, we are not developing psychologically. We are living with the illusion. We are living with the instant gratification that maybe I just feel guilty and everything would be good. Maybe I do this and then everything would be good. We are resisting to do the real work. And what all of this is doing, it is draining our energy. It is draining our energy. It's almost like, having a cup full of water with a hole on the bottom. How long you're going to have that cup full? It's just leaking, leaking, leaking. Yeah, maybe you're drinking, but it's also dripping as well. That's how you're leaking energy from your existence as you are dabbling into guilt and shame. So, what is something we can do to heal this aspect of us? Long route would be developing, doing the deeper work, getting into the spiritual aspect of it, getting into healing those parts of you that are keeping you stuck in guilt. But there is a short version of it. So I'll be sharing the short version of it. What is something you can do right now? So before I get into it, I want to share with you how to get out of this psychological illusion of feeling safe. Whenever we feel guilty, we are feeling guilty in that very specific moment because we want to feel control. So let's say if I did something to, if I did something and let's consider it wrong. In the universe, there's no right or wrong. Everything just is. But let's say for the sake of this moment, I'm labeling it wrong. Now, I did something wrong, which means uh, there's something wrong with me, and that feels very uncomfortable and I'm not feeling in control. I'm not feeling safe because now I'm being attacked. So I want to feel in control. I want to feel safe. That's why I am feeling guilty. That's why when I go back to guilt, I'm like, oh, this is familiar. I have been here. Okay, what is wrong with me? Why did I do this? I always do this. Then I am turning against myself, and that is creating false emotional intimacy in that moment. In that moment, I'm feeling connected with myself. But we didn't even resolve that, I did something wrong. There was an action that I didn't like. I did not give myself chance to develop through that. So I just left that there and I went home to guilt. And now I am just, talking to guilt. And, we're just going to stay there and drain our energy. Most of us, that is how we live. The truth that we want to focus on that there is no safety. You're in this physical body that's temporary. Anything can happen at any point. We all know what happened in the past 4 years of our life. Anything can happen at any time. You can die right now. The loved ones you know can die right now. Somebody can get sick. You can get laid off right now. Your marriage can fall apart right now. Those are the realities of our physical essence. The physical experience we are having, it's not permanent. It's temporary. So what is permanent? The only permanent thing is your divinity. We all are a divine being living in this uh, physical experience for a very short period of time. So I'm a divine being having a physical experience. So the true safety lies in connecting with that divinity, that I am a divine being. I am not this body. I'm somebody so much bigger than this body. So the more you start focus on in the way you think, I'm a divine being. There's nothing in this world can hurt my soul. I can go through the most terrible traumas in this lifetime that might create physical scars on my body or they will create scars on my emotional body, but they cannot hurt my soul. They cannot hurt the being that I am, that's infinite. So that is the kind of way of thinking, that is the level of consciousness. When you start inviting that in your day-to-day life, that is when you don't feel like going to outer senses or outer incidents to feel safe, to feel in control. So let's talk about what can you do when you feel guilty in the moment right now. It starts with first making the decision, I don't want to play with guilt anymore. If you have not made that decision and if you're just like, let me just see what this is about, you're not going to get out of guilt. You have to make a decision that I want to create a life where guilt is not even part of my consciousness or vocabulary or feeling anymore. Once you make the decision, the next part would be whenever you're feeling guilty, let's say like, you're meeting a friend and the friend is like, I called you 10 times, you didn't pick up. And your natural way of being is like, going into that explanation and you're feeling guilty. That's your natural way of doing. In that moment, think of guilt as a hot coal sitting on your hand, and you can mentally visualize it that you're just dropping this and you're choosing not to feel guilty. Your whole body will scream because it has been physiologically imprinted in you to play with those very specific biochemicals. But in that moment, resist the urge. Or you can even say it in your mind, I don't want to feel guilty right now. I'm not going to feel guilty. So what else you're going to do in that moment, also focus on, I'm not feeling safe. How can I feel safe? One of the sentences that I personally absolutely love reminding yourself in this moment, I'm complete. In this moment, I'm complete. Your friend is complaining to you and you're telling yourself in this moment, I'm complete. What is that? I am is always associated with who you are as the power, as the divine power, not the physical body. So you're talking about your higher self now. Your higher self is always complete. Your soul is always complete. No matter the kind of craziness we go through in this physical world, that part of you is always complete. So in that moment, you have already made the decision, I'm not going to feel guilty. You have dropped that coal, and now you're telling yourself, I am complete. And the next level, it's 4 levels that you'll do, hold compassion for yourself, because there's a part of you that is telling you what is wrong with you. You did something wrong. Why you're not a good friend. You're not calling her back. You're being attacked internally in that moment. That is when you will hold compassion. What is holding compassion? When you can see yourself exactly how you are, where you are, without asking yourself to be anything different. It's a very deep level of acceptance. It's that level, no matter what you do, it's okay. There's nothing that you could ever do wrong. We get so hung up with as human that this is the wrong thing to do, this is the right thing to do. But the truth is, whatever you did, that is exactly what you're supposed to do. If it brought you closer to the light, good. If it brought you closer to the darkness, now you're away from light. Now you can course correct and you can come back to your light. But there's no point of just staying with the darkness and inviting more darkness by turning against yourself and attacking yourself, which most of us do. So in that moment, realize that even if you didn't call your friend, and maybe it's end of the world for somebody, it was meant to happen. And how you can grow from that experience. Maybe you need to make different decisions in your life that I'm not going to be calling my friends every day. I'm not going to be calling back my friends every time they call me. Maybe I am allowing myself a week before I call. Maybe you need to reevaluate things. I can tell you, friends, from my personal experience, I used to be the person who will feel, of course, very guilty, do my best never to do anything wrong. And one time I let myself make a mistake knowingly. And that is an exercise I do practice with some of my clients who really need to heal through guilt, doing something wrong on purpose. Of course, we are not talking about going and harming people. When I was with my mentor, I was working through, erasing gift from my consciousness. I did something wrong that I knew this is wrong. And I did it. And when I did it, I washed the guilt show up. I held space for myself. I resisted the urge to give into the guilt. It was very uncomfortable. And I kept telling myself in that moment, Alia, whatever you did, it's okay. You're allowed to do it. And then going to the next part, do you want to keep doing it? Is that who you want to be? That is compassion. That is meeting yourself where you are, not trying to make yourself something that you're not by comparison, by this and that. We adults do that all the time. And going through that experience, because I was consciously building that muscle, at this point, if someone is trying to make me feel guilty, I can see it. I can see they are trying to control and manipulate, but it does not touch me. And it feels so freeing. That is, my friend, is true freedom. So let me recap. We talked about what guilt and shame is, why it exists, how it hurts you. It hurts you at multiple levels. If you don't remember anything, it drains your energy. What you can do right now, first make a decision, and then you're just going to drop the coal. And then you're going to focus on that my being, my divine being is complete in this moment. I don't need to go get safety outside of me. I don't need to get safety in self-loathing, self-pity, or self-attacks. And then realizing and then holding compassion for yourself that no matter what you do, it's okay. It's okay. We can make a different decision tomorrow. This is where we are. If today you lost all your money to something you were doing in stock exchange, it's okay. You can always build it. There's nothing you could ever do wrong, because even what we human label as wrong is a step closer to moving towards the entirety that you are. You're moving closer to become more of your soul's light. On paper, it will feel wrong. In terms of our judgmental nature, it will feel wrong, but we are never doing anything wrong. Everything that we are doing, we are meant to do it. We're meant to move forward. I just want to quickly, bring it. Yeah, we went into the religion, and some people, they might be still like, okay, Alia, you just left me hanging. How does God looks at you when you're doing things? First of all, no matter which religion you go to, the true source, the being that has created you and me and the universe, loves us more than we can ever imagine. He does not need your money. He does not need your worship. He does not need your praise. He created you. He loves you. He would always love you. But we are a soul on its own journey, finding oneness back with him. That is the journey me and you are on. We are finding our way back to him, where we can realize, oh, I'm actually one with him. I was never separate from him. In that process, I am going to fall down. I'm going to get back up. I am going to go down. I'm going to go up. That is for me. That whole journey is for me. He's not interfering. That's why one of the amazing thing that my mentor taught me: God always provides you financially. You provide yourself emotionally. If I'm feeling guilty, God is not going to come down and try to resolve it for me. I have to resolve it myself. He loves me no matter how many terrible things I'm doing. So I don't need to turn against myself to try to justify myself or try to feel I'm a better human, or I am this or I am that. My job is to realize how complete I am. Even when I did something wrong, that has brought me closer to my light. Because now I have a new experience. I have expanded at a new level. Now I can make a better decision. Do I want to live my life that way, or do I want to live my life in a different way? Every moment is taking us closer to our source and to our soul. So that is all, my friend, for today on guilt and shame. If this is something that you really want to go deep into and create a life where you truly live without any guilt and shame, and you live a very energized life, I would love to be your guide. Reach out to me. You can go to my website, aliajamalcoaching.com. You can book a call with me, and I would love to have a conversation with you and show you how amazing and wonderful life is when you're living guilt and shame free. That is all for today. I will see you next Thursday. Bye.